The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of Lexington Community Radio or its board of directors. The views expressed are solely those of the programmers.
You are listening to Off the Cuff. Now, here's your host, Adam Banks.
Welcome, everybody, to Off the Cuff. I am Adam Banks, coming at you live from Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you for listening to the show, and thank you for tuning in to WLXU 93.9 FM. In addition to listening on the radio, you can check out our Facebook live stream at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks, or you can download the Radio Lex app or stream the show from the station website at radiolex.us to listen to the show from anywhere in the entire world. I am broadcasting from the Deborah Hensley Studios here at Radio Lex on North Limestone. It is May the 23rd, 2024. I have finally broken out the shorts, ladies and gentlemen. I've put up the jeans. The shorts are now out. It's now officially warm enough to wear shorts. But the problem is when you put on shorts in this 90-degree weather, it feels great. But then it starts to really take a turn for the worse when you go into buildings, because the buildings are too daggone cold. Every restaurant that you go into, you have to literally take a jacket with you in the restaurant. And it's the same way in this studio today. I'm absolutely freezing. I need a jacket or something to be put over my legs as I'm doing the show. But that's the thing. It's a what do you call that? A catch 22? When if one thing's good, but you have to deal with another bad thing. It's great to have shorts on and to have this warm weather, but people in the summertime keep restaurants and they keep buildings too cold for people to be able to stand it. And that's anywhere. Movies, restaurants, retail stores, they keep it freezing in the summer, and everybody's got on tank tops and shorts, and it's just too cold for everybody. But folks, it being the springtime and gearing up for summer, that means one of the hottest sports of the summer is underway. And I'm not talking about baseball, but I'm talking about golf. And I play golf occasionally. I'm not the biggest golfer in the world, never claimed to know much about it. But I do know when major golf events are being played. We have 4 major golf championships in the golf sport that people know: the Masters, the PGA Championship, the Open Championship, and the British Open. Everybody knows those 4 championships when it comes to golf. Well, what was special about the PGA Championship, which has just passed, we've already had the Masters, that's the big opening tournament. And we all know that Scottie Scheffler won the Masters, but the PGA Tour was held right here, or the PGA Championship was held right here in Louisville, Kentucky. I say right here, and I'm sitting here in Lexington. Right here in Kentucky, I should say, but it was up in Louisville, and it was the PGA Championship. And of course, it was held at the Valhalla Golf Club in Louisville, Kentucky, and it was won by Xander Schauffele, and he is the winner of the PGA Championship. But that's not the big story of the PGA Championship. It's not the fact that Xander Schauffele won the tournament. It's the fact that Scottie Scheffler, which some call the best golfer in the entire world, was arrested moments before the PGA Championship round 2. So here's what happened. I've got a lot to say about this, but I want to give you the backstory for those of you who haven't heard of how it exactly went down, how he was arrested, why he was arrested. It says here that the number 1 golfer in the world, Scottie Scheffler, was arrested by Louisville Metro Police last Friday morning after trying to drive into the entrance of Valhalla Golf Club, the site of the week's PGA Championship. Traffic outside the golf course had been stopped after a man was struck and killed by a shuttle bus around 5 a.m. that morning. Scheffler faces charges of second-degree assault of a police officer, third-degree criminal mischief, reckless driving, and disregarding traffic signals from an officer directing traffic. The assault charge is a felony. The others are misdemeanors. Major Jason Loxton of the Louisville Metro Police Department of Corrections told ESPN that Scheffler was released at 8:40 a.m. Friday without bail. He arrived at Valhalla less than an hour before he was scheduled to tee off at 10:08 a.m. So basically what was happening is there was a bad traffic accident where somebody lost their life. When somebody loses their life in a traffic accident, the cops shut the road down. You're not getting through. You're not getting by. Have you ever been sitting in traffic after an accident and you're wondering why the traffic's not moving, why you've been sitting there 30, 45 minutes to an hour? Probably because somebody lost their life. And when that happens, the police have to do an investigation of exactly everything that went down, and nothing can be out of place. Nothing can be moved, nothing can be shifted, because the police are doing their investigation. What happened is that Scottie Scheffler was driving to the golf tournament as he was scheduled to do that morning. He was going early to get in a few practice swings, but he was stuck in traffic just like everybody else. Well, what Scottie Scheffler tried to do was drive around the crash scene on a median, and a police officer instructed Scheffler to stop his car, but Scheffler continued to drive about 10 to 20 yards toward the entrance. At that point, the police officer from Louisville attached himself to the side of Scheffler's car. Scheffler stopped his car as he turned into the entrance of the Valhalla Golf Club. After about 20 to 30 seconds, Scheffler rolled down his window to talk to the police officer, and the officer grabbed Scheffler's arm to pull him out of the vehicle, according to an ESPN reporter, Jeff Darlington. It says here that the officer reached inside the vehicle to open the door, and once Scheffler was pulled out, he was pushed against the car and placed in handcuffs. Jeff Darlington, the ESPN reporter, was standing at the entrance when Scheffler was detained, and Scheffler turned around and asked him, "Can you help?" "No, Scheffler, there's nothing that the ESPN reporter can do for you at that point." And the officer told Darlington, the ESPN reporter, "You need to get out of the way. Right now, he's going to jail, and there's nothing you can do about it." So a lot of people are just fit to tie over the fact that the Louisville Metro Police Department arrested the number one golfer in the world. He should have been arrested. He is no different than any other citizen in this country. When there is a traffic accident and there is a death involved in that traffic accident, nobody is allowed to go around, to go through, to go in, to go above, to go under the accident until it's cleared. Until the police officers tell you to. Well, apparently, Scottie Scheffler, being the privileged guy that he thinks he is, being famous, being a great golfer, tries to go around the police with thinking there would be no consequences. And now he wants to boo-hoo and act like that he shouldn't have been arrested. Well, what gets me is that everybody was onto the Louisville Metro Police so hard from the jump, without even hearing the facts, without hearing the details of what happened to Scottie and what happened in the situation. Everybody was just fit to tie over the fact that Louisville police arrested him. Now, you guys know how I feel about the police. I love good police work. I love good investigations. I love good old-fashioned detective work. I like when crime is being solved. I love good police work. But the caveat to that is I hate cocky and egotistical police officers. I hate it when people with a badge and a uniform let that go to their head. However, when a police officer is doing actual police work, I'm all for it. And I'm for the police. I'm not here saying I don't like the police and I'm not here for the police. I love the police when they're doing great police work. And it sounds like they were doing their job, they were policing, and Scheffler tried to drive around the accident based off what? Who he was? You're no different than everybody else. And the fact that a police officer had to jump on his car in order for him to stop, and he still kept going, blows my mind. Blows my mind. The officer was dressed in a high-visibility reflective jacket when he stopped Scheffler's car to give instructions, the arrest sheet said. It says here, Scottie Scheffler, who is 27 years old, has won 4 of his past 5 starts, including the second major championship at the Masters in April. The start of the second round was delayed after a shuttle bus struck and killed a pedestrian outside Valhalla Golf Club. Scottie Scheffler was booked at Metro Corrections at 7:28 that morning. before being released at 8:40 a.m. Just a little over an hour being in jail, he was released. Scheffler was charged with second-degree assault of a police officer, third-degree criminal mischief, reckless driving, and disregarding signals from officers directing traffic. I don't think he should have been let out of jail. Personally, he's in a golf tournament. Oh, well. You're the number one golfer in the world. You have a good chance to win. Oh, well. So I guess the message that Scottie is letting everybody know, I guess that the police is letting everybody know here, because he was released without any without any charges, without anything being paid. He was released less than an hour. I guess it's okay when there's when there's an accident to just drive on the medium and to drive around when there is, whatever. Wade says on the show thread, the cop didn't follow protocol. New video has come out. Where's the video? What's the protocol? I don't care. I don't care about that. I don't care about the fact that there was the police officer didn't have his camera on. Okay, I get it. The cop didn't have his camera on. Boom. That's bad on the cop. I understand. That's bad that the cop didn't turn his camera on. I think that cops need to have their uniform camera on. That's on the cop. But does that still mean that Scheffler had the right to drive over the median? No. So what video is it that has come out that I need to watch to know that the police did something wrong to Scheffler when Scheffler broke the law? That's what I'm wanting to know. Man, being booked in jail and was only there less than an hour. Now, who knows if him crossing over the median and and into the traffic accident, if that caused any issues with the investigation of the accident. Who knows? But all I know is that the fact that he was arrested, I agree with. There is no reason why he shouldn't have been arrested, because he is no different than anybody else. I would have been arrested. Anybody that's listening would have been arrested if you would have crossed that median when the police told you not to cross it. But hey, I'm not a police officer. What do I know? I'm just an old redneck from Eastern Kentucky. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a great show ahead of you today. We have a special guest coming on the show. Unky Bones will be in studio, a musical artist from right here in Lexington, and he will be joining us in the last segment of the show, and I look forward to talking to him very, very soon. So, folks, stick with us. You are listening to Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. We will be right back. Everybody to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. The NBA playoffs are in full swing. We are down to the final four of the NBA playoffs. Only 4 teams remain. And that is the Indiana Pacers, Boston Celtics, Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Dallas Mavericks. And over the next couple of weeks, the playoffs will be played, and we will determine eventually a new 2024 NBA World Champion. There was a bet on DraftKings very early in the preseason where you could bet on a team that's never won the NBA championship to win it all for like $5 would win you like $500. Or you could bet that either the Celtics or the Lakers would win, and it was like a $10 bet would win you $1,000. It was something crazy like that. So it looks like the possibility for those big bets to take place and happen, because Boston could win. They've won several times. The Timberwolves, I don't think they've won. The Mavericks have won one. And the Pacers, I don't think the Pacers has ever won an NBA championship. So there's could be a new NBA champion, a brand new NBA champion, very, very soon crowned. But folks, because the NBA playoffs is upon us, it made me just start thinking of all of the great NBA playoff broadcast themes that exist out there. Now, the NBA playoffs are on ABC, and they've been on ABC since 2003. The playoffs, it's on ABC, ESPN, TNT, and NBA TV, but the actual finals of the NBA broadcast is broadcasted on ABC only. And when it's time for the NBA playoffs, you always hear this theme music, the NBA playoff theme music. And ABC is not the only network that covers NBA games. TV deals are interesting. You have to have a deal with a certain network in order for the network to be allowed to broadcast games. But back in the day, pretty much every network has broadcasted the NBA or had a contract with the NBA at one point in time. Right now, it's ABC, TNT, ESPN. Used to, back in the day, there was NBC, CBS. They all, at one point at least, had a contract with the NBA TV rights. But what's special about these NBA broadcasts is that, according to what network they're being played on, each network has a specific broadcast theme for the NBA. And it made me start thinking of some of the best NBA broadcast theme songs throughout time. And we'll start with this one. This one is the NBA playoff theme song. So every time the playoffs is happening, you hear this theme right here. And like I said, the NBA playoffs, it's on ABC, TNT, ESPN, NBA TV. The finals are on ABC only, exclusively. But regardless, the whole time during the playoffs, you hear this theme. So you know the playoffs are happening, or they're at least talking about the playoffs when you hear this theme. But there are some other great NBA broadcast theme songs that exist out there. So what about when NBA games are played only exclusively on ESPN? ESPN has their own NBA broadcast theme, and it is this right here. So, if you tune into any other network besides ESPN and you're watching NBA, you won't hear this theme. This is only for ESPN when they're showing NBA. This is the broadcast theme for the NBA for ESPN only. ESPN, imagine a world without it. It has definitely hurt the major networks in sports. Before ESPN, CBS, NBC, CBS, I mean, they had a monopoly on sports. ESPN came along, and now they show everything. And they also have this great theme that goes along with their broadcast. Okay, so we heard the NBA playoff theme, and we heard the NBA broadcast theme for ESPN. Well, what about when the NBA is played on Fox? Sometimes during the regular season, they will play NBA games very rarely on the Fox network. Not one of the most popular networks for the NBA to be played on, but sometimes they do show some NBA games on Fox. And when they do, here is the NBA broadcast theme for Fox. I like it. Too bad there's not many NBA games on Fox, so we don't hear this broadcast theme very much. And there are several others. And one of my personal favorites is coming up right here, and this is NBA on TNT. The NBA has been on TNT since November the 4th, 1989, all the way up until now. NBA on TNT is probably where most NBA games are played throughout the season. You usually see NBA broadcast on TNT during the regular season. TNT definitely has the most famous broadcasters of all NBA broadcasters. You've got Ernie Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley. Those guys are affiliated with the TNT broadcast. So whenever you watch anything dealing with the NBA on TNT, you hear this broadcast theme song. I don't know exactly how many NBA games there are throughout the season. I know there's over 100, maybe over 150. So you can't show all the NBA games on one network. You just can't do it. So you have to split it up amongst several different broadcasting networks. And TNT is one of them. Okay, back in the day, folks, ABC did not have a contract with NBA. TNT didn't have a contract with the NBA, but back in the day, NBC used to have a contract with the NBA. Do you guys remember when NBC used to show NBA games? They were always on NBC. I specifically remember they would always say NBA on NBC. You just changed one letter, and that was their marketing. They would just NBA on NBC, NBA on NBC, and you would always see that. So for a while, it just kind of went unnoticed for me for a long time that they were no longer showing NBA games on NBC. But back in the day, when they were shown, when the NBA broadcasted on NBC, this was the NBC broadcast theme for the NBA from 1991 to 2002. They had a couple of runs. They had a run from 1954 to 1962, where they had 8 seasons worth of NBA on NBC. And then they had a run from 1990 to 2002, which is the theme you're hearing now. And that's where they went 12 seasons on NBC. A total of 20 seasons of the NBA was played on NBC. Now, this was back during the Michael Jordan days, back when those elite Chicago Bulls, the dynasty, was at its peak. This is when you seen Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, B.J. Armstrong from the Bulls. I mean, and then you also seen people like Shaquille O'Neal starting out for the first time. You seen Kobe starting out for the first time. You even got a little bitty peek of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird in their end of days during this theme. The NBA on NBC. I mean, it seriously went so unnoticed for me for so many years when they stopped broadcasting on NBC. But they haven't been on NBC since 2002. So that means you probably haven't heard this music since 2002. Now, this next one coming up here, folks, is my actual personal favorite, and this is from the 1970s when the NBA used to be played on CBS, and CBS had their own specific broadcast theme for the NBA. And what I love so much about this theme music is that this theme music actually had lyrics to it. It was an actual song that they would play before the games on CBS. So before any NBA game was played on CBS, they would play this NBA broadcast theme. So you tell me, boomers, if this brings back any memories for you.
Give it all you got, take your very best shot, and may the best team win. The time is now, the name of the game is action. They're on the floor and they're ready to score.
I love it. I don't think that they make any theme songs with lyrics anymore like this for any sport. I hate the fact that they did away with including lyrics with theme music. But this was a great NBA theme song that CBS used to have for the NBA in the 1970s. Now, this really was during the prime for the Michael, or for Magic Johnson and the Larry Birds of the world. And eventually, the broadcast theme for CBS evolved into just music instead of the lyrics. This is what it sounded like once they dropped the lyrics. They recreated a new theme music for CBS, and this was it right here, just without the lyrics. And finally, one more to share here with the audience. The NBA used to also show games on TBS. And when they would show games on TBS, it was from 1984 to 2002, a pretty long run. As a matter of fact, that is an 18-year long run that they would show on TBS. Now, TBS at that time was owned by both TNT and TBS was owned by the same man, which was Ted Turner. And this was the theme song for TBS for all NBA games. This is the broadcast theme song for NBA for TBS. So, you always pretty much knew, if you were down the hall and you had your TV on, you always knew what channel was on according to which music was playing. If you heard this music, you knew that the game was on TBS. If you heard any of the other songs, you just matched it according to where it belonged. But each broadcast channel has their own specific sound and their own specific theme song for the NBA. Now, this has long been retired since 2002 because they no longer show NBA on TBS. But if they ever start showing it again, I would love for them to bring back the retro NBA on TBS theme. And folks, that pretty much wraps up my list of the best NBA broadcast theme songs throughout time. Several different networks, several different themes. But the NBA playoffs are currently happening, and we will discuss them more as they progress. And eventually, I will give you some sort of coverage, and we'll talk about the winner when a new winner is crowned. But folks, we're going to take another quick break. Stick with us. We will be right back.
Luck be a lady tonight. Luck be a lady tonight.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Valerie on the show thread says there is a new Allstate commercial with Larry Bird in it. It's hilarious. Have you seen it? I'm thinking, have I seen that? No, I'll have to check it out. She says to YouTube it. God bless Larry Bird. I love to see that he's still kicking it, still alive, still healthy, still getting around good. Athletes usually at that age don't get around that great, so it's great to see he's still moving around. Folks, Today may be your lucky day if you look down and you find a penny. If you do find a penny, it is a lucky penny because today's national holiday is Lucky Penny Day. And Lucky Penny Day is celebrated on May the 23rd. It's always nice to find a penny, and on this day, everyone is on the lookout for one, because if you do find a penny today, it truly is a good luck penny because you found it on Lucky Penny Day. Here is some history of Lucky Penny Day. Nobody really knows how it came about, which kind of makes it even more interesting that it's just kind of here. But the first pennies in the U.S. were minted from copper in 1793. The phrase worth a penny may sound ridiculous to us today, but there was once a time when a penny held significant value. Over the years, the penny has lost its value due to inflation, and it's practically worthless now. But nevertheless, it's always nice to find a penny when you wasn't looking for it. And if you find it today, it is a lucky penny. And ain't that the truth? Back in the day, a penny used to be worth so much more. You could take a penny to the store, I would say 50, 60 years ago, and come out of that store with an item or two. Nowadays, a penny, it's basically worthless. It's almost a rarity now to find people that have change in their pocket. I remember as a kid, my dad would always rattle his change in his pocket. I would always hear him doing that, rattling his change in his pocket. You don't see many people rattling their change in their pocket anymore because most people don't carry change anymore because the lack of change being exchanged in America. Most people are using plastic, which in return gives you no change. But back in the day, everybody was using paper currency, using change, and always getting change back. So everybody always had a pocket full of change. But isn't it something how things just change and evolve over time? Pennies, which used to be worth something, is almost worthless now. Here's a little timeline on pennies. In 757 AD, the first pennies are minted during the reign of Offa of America in Saxon England. In 1793, the first pennies are minted in America. 1793 is when the first penny came to America. Interesting. In 1857, pennies are resized and minted into smaller dimensions. So yes, before 1857's pennies were just a little bit bigger. In 2008, the U.S. spends $134 million to produce $80 million worth of pennies. I mean, I get it. You got to have that, so you got to spend money to have the money. So what can you do with a lucky penny if you find it? It says here that you can toss a penny over your left shoulder into a water or a wishing well, then make a wish, and it should come true. Carrying 3 pennies will bring you good luck, they say too. Place a penny in your shoe to bring good fortune. So you can do any of the following with your lucky penny today. Here's some mind-blowing facts about pennies. They were first resized in 1857. Benjamin Franklin invented the penny. The penny has a long lifespan. It says that a penny stays in circulation on average of 25 years. The penny is not made of copper. Since 1943, steel and zinc have been used to mint a penny. And the penny is in many different languages. Like almost all things, the penny is known by different names across the world. For an example, it is known as Pfennig in German and pennying in Swedish. So that's just some fun facts about the penny, the almost worthless little coin that you find on the street, yes, or that you get at a store, even though it is almost worthless today. If you find one today is your lucky day because it's Lucky Penny Day. And if you find a penny on Lucky Penny Day, apparently that's supposed to be when the pennies are lucky. You've heard the quote before, find a penny, pick it up all day long, you'll have good luck. Well, I don't know if that's every day, but it's definitely today on Lucky Penny Day. All right, folks, we're going to take one more break because we have one more segment. And when we come back, for our fourth segment, we will have a special guest in studio, musical artist Unky Bones. Folks, stick with us. We will be right back.
All I gotta do is pass the time. I've been feeling sick, overthinking if it's all in my mind. All I gotta do is pass the time.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Last segment of the hour. What you're hearing is musical artist from right here in Lexington, Unky Bones. His new single, Bone Dry, dropped on May the 10th. You can stream his music on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, and he's going to be joining me in a couple of minutes here in studio for an interview. But before I bring him in, I got to play some of his music for you. So for Off the Cuff's Song of the Week, folks, I have a Unky Bones special for you. This is actually his newest single. His newest single, Bone Dry, like I said, dropped on May 10th, and that's what we're going to hear right now. So folks, without any further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy Bone Dry by Unky Bones. We'll be back after the song, and we will have Unky Bones in studio. Stick with us.
I was full, just pressure in my chest.
And that was Unky Bones, ladies and gentlemen. That was Unky Bones with his newest single. And I love that song, Unky. Thank you so much for being here in studio with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, can I call you Unky?
Yeah, go for it.
Is that what people call you, or do they
Yeah.
just call you Unky Bones?
Yeah, I answer to Unky actually more than my own name. So.
I do like that name. So I'm curious, man. How did you come up with Unky Bones?
It's a funny story. So I was on a TikTok live. I guess it's not too crazy, but somebody was talking about that they had an uncle and his nickname was Bones, and so everybody started going Unky Bones, and I was like, me too. And so I changed it to, instead of UNCY, it's UNKY, so it's like funky without the F.
Are you an uncle in real
No,
life?
I'm not.
Well, you already have your name, dude.
Yeah, there we go.
That's what's cool about it. So, let's describe your sound, because I keep calling you a musical artist, but I'm sure there's a genre you belong to. Now, listening to your sound, I don't want to just categorize you. So
Right.
how would you describe your sound?
I usually say I'm like indie pop or alternative pop, maybe indie rock sometimes, depending on, because we have some more like distorted guitars and things like that are influenced. Yeah, so I would say somewhere in there. I'm definitely influenced by a lot of different things. So you got rock and pop and like maybe even like little bits of like Americana and stuff that might pop up in there from like my past. But
Now, are you from Lexington?
no, originally I'm from Eastern Kentucky, so I'm from Hazard.
Oh my gosh, dude, I'm from Eastern Kentucky.
Really?
Yes.
What part?
Knott County.
Oh, okay.
Right beside a Hazard.
go.
There's Perry County, then there's Knott County.
Represent.
Where did you grow up at Hazard?
So I grew up in Grapevine.
Okay, I
So
know.
like right outside, like right on the line of like Breathitt County and Perry County, pretty much.
Did you go to Hazard or Perry Central?
I went to Buckhorn actually.
Oh, Buckhorn.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never met a person from Hazard I haven't liked. So, dude, I mean, and you just are another example of somebody that I like.
Let's go.
I mean, because Hazard people are special. Some of my best friends are from that area. It's a great place.
Well, I'm glad I'm keeping up the good name.
Well, what's it like being a part of the music scene here in Lexington? How do you get treated? What's it like just being an artist here in Lexington? Because are you living here now, or are you still living in Hazard?
No, I live here now. Yeah.
Okay, you're living here. So are you getting along with other artists, or is it just kind of a lot of backstabbing, a lot of just backbiting?
No, honestly, I mean, I've met a lot of really cool, sick people. I mean, been very accepted in a lot of communities. I feel like it's been a great time ever since I've been here. Like, I've made some really good friends. Some of my best friends come from the music scene here, so.
From the music scene. Now, have you done any collabs with them, or is that something in the future you're wanting to do?
Definitely working on some things with some cool people.
So what inspired you to get into music and start making music on your own?
So I'd say when I first started playing music, it was because my mom actually used to play guitar and like sing me to sleep at night. So I was like, I want to learn how to do that. So she taught me how to play a few things. I taught myself. I just ran with it and kept expanding. And then it was really like I saw Slash play. I saw Guns N' Roses, and I was like, that's what I want to do, actually.
Yeah.
And so I would just sit in front of my parents' stereo, and I would just listen to CDs and just learn all of them by ear, like front to back. And just ever since then, I was like, well, that's the only thing I ever want to do.
So it sounds like inspiration just got you into music. Watching other artists, even your mom.
Yeah, pretty much.
Was an inspiration. Okay, so when Unky Bones isn't playing music, he isn't creating music, he's not in the studio. What's Unky Bones doing on a chill day when you're just trying to chill out on your own? What do you do that's not music related?
I'm a big nerd, so I love like Pokemon. I love like. I watch a little anime. I love like Marvel stuff. Pretty much if it's nerdy, I'm probably into it. And like on the weekends, my partner and I, like we love board games, so we're always like going to little nerdy coffee shops and like playing board games.
Well, I seen on your Instagram, or it was Facebook, one of them, you said you described yourself as a mix of a, I don't even know the name. It's a Pokemon thing, and I never watched Pokemon.
A Tamagotchi.
Is that Pokemon?
No, that's like it's like this little Japanese toy where you like take care of like a little pet, and it's like people put them on their keychains and stuff.
Yes. Oh yeah. That was actually out when I was a kid. The Tamagotchi. What was it called?
Yeah, Tamagotchi.
Tamagotchi.
Yeah. See, in my bio is a Tamagotchi and a motorcycle had a baby. And that's me.
I like that. I do like that. Well, dude, I mean, it does represent your style a little bit. Even like you have a whole vibe here in the studio. So I love what you're bringing. But you are also, when you call yourself a musician, I love that because you also write your own songs. So I'm always curious to ask people this that write their own music. What do you do before you get started? What inspires you to write a song? How do you come up with the ideas? Do you have a routine that you go through before you sit down and write? Do you have to drive away and tuck yourself away at a cabin somewhere for a weekend? Like, how do you sit down and write your music?
Not necessarily. Honestly, it can come from a lot of different places. Just for a couple examples, like I have a song that I did way back in the day called 939, and I wrote it because I had the number 939 like stuck in my head for like 3 days straight. I couldn't, like, no matter what I thought about, I could see that number in my head.
Yeah.
And so I went to the studio, and shout out Austin Jones, my producer, the greatest in the world. He was like, we should just write about it. Maybe that's how you get out of your head. So we did. We made a song out of it, and it worked. Got it out of my head. Recently, I have a song that's coming out in August called Wonky, and I wrote that because I had a headache, and I was like, I feel wonky today, so let's just write about that.
Right. What's your favorite part about creating music?
I definitely think it's just the release of emotion. Like, I have a lot of songs, too, that are inspired by, like, past events and things that I've experienced. And I think it's really nice when you feel something that maybe you can't necessarily explain, you can write about it and maybe explain it more than you ever could have just speaking it out loud.
Yeah. It's a creative outlet. I always tell people to be careful when you're dating or you're friends with somebody who can write music or really has a creative outlet. Don't make that person mad because you're going to end up in a song.
Yeah,
you're going to end up on the radio.
You can get that Taylor Swift treatment.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like everybody she dates, she's got a song about them. I think one of her Swifties, made this thread of all the songs that she created, and she had out from the song who it was about. So Harry Styles had a song. I don't know all of her ex-boyfriends, but they each one had a song. Have you ever wrote a song about an ex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we've all done it. You can't deny it.
Yeah. And is it to the point to where they'll know it's about them, but nobody else would?
I think some of the ones I did in the past, yeah. I think these days if I write something about somebody from the past, I try to be a little more ambiguous because, I don't want to make anybody feel bad, regardless of what we went through. I don't want to publicly blast somebody.
Well, yeah, because at the end of the day, yes, you were together at one point, and obviously, if you stayed together, there was some good times.
Yeah.
So they wasn't all bad. So you don't want to burn the bridge completely.
Yeah, you want to leave them in the past, but you don't want to be a big butthole about it. Exactly. So, are you big into performing live outside of the studio in front of an audience? Yeah, I love performing. I think probably performing might even be. It's pretty up there with just like even creating. Like I just think I was just born to be a performer, so I just like entertaining. How do you connect with your audience during a performance? I think it's just all about involvement, letting people know that like you see them and you're glad that they're there. Like I love doing stuff where like maybe I'll be like when I say Unky, you say Bones, and then have the crowd interaction. just stuff like that. I think just making people go home and be like, wow, I got to bring a friend next time because I had such a good time.
Where's your most favorite place that you've performed so far?
I've been having, for a really long time, I was confused about like my hometown and stuff, and I was kind of afraid of not being like accepted there just because like, the social norm maybe lean a little more country and stuff like that. And like, I'm a little poppy guy. But recently I've found a really good audience there, and like they're really super supportive, really ride or die. And just everything I've done there recently has just been really stellar. So I've been really happy with that.
I understand 1,000% when you talk about the area because I'm from the area.
Yeah.
Knott County, Hazard, tomato.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, we're a little better. We're a little better. That's what you're thinking. That's what all of you. What do you call yourself? What do hazard people call themselves?
I've always said Hazardians. I don't know.
Hazardians? Well, you Hazardians think just a slight better that you're better than us Knott Countyans. Maybe, I don't know. But I know what you're talking about. It's a very... I feel like that coming from that area myself, I feel like sometimes that people have tunnel vision and they don't get outside of the box. Their thinking's one way, but that couldn't be further from the truth. There's so many people there that's just like anybody from anywhere else. I mean,
absolutely. We're
sitting here in Lexington, but both of us are pretty much from the same area.
Yeah.
And we're both out here doing creative things.
Right.
And and I know several talented people from the Eastern Kentucky area that may be a little flamboyant, or they may be just kind of off the wall and a little just out of the circle just a tad.
Right.
But that just, I think that people like us, we need to keep doing what we're doing just to show people that still live there that they can be themselves and express themselves regardless of where they're from. So,
absolutely.
What have you not done in your career so far that you still want to do?
Well, obviously I want to win a Grammy. It's
right.
like, that's the ultimate thing. I think it's just showing the people that have followed me thus far that it was all worth it. I think that's like the main goal with all of it. And like, obviously, I'll probably never feel satisfied with that because I'll always want more. But I think just the bigger that we can go, the better that we can go. That's really all that I'm looking for.
So what's next for you in your musical career? Do you have any upcoming projects or any upcoming tours?
Yeah, so I have a few shows this summer, playing some festivals and stuff. Have some big ideas and plans for next year that I'll maybe won't say too much about right now because I don't want to, spoil the pie. But
This is the place to say it, man, right here. This is the exclusive spot to let everybody know.
Well, we're shooting for bigger things next year, maybe like a Bonnaroo. Who knows? We're trying to go big or go home.
Trying to get on the festivals, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely have a lot more songs to come out this year. Song per month, actually, for the rest of the year. So excited about that. And yeah, just using that to grow as much as we can. Just because, like, I just started doing Unky Bones actually this year. Mm-hmm. It was kind of just a culmination of everything I've been through.
You've only been at it for a year.
So I've only been at Unky Bones for this since January.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've been doing music for a long time, but it was kind of just like everything that I've done kind of streamlined into like what this is now. So I did essentially kind of start from scratch. With Unky Bones.
You rebranded yourself.
Yeah. So, but it's honestly probably the best I've ever felt about music.
Yeah.
So
well, because you found your niche. I don't know if you watched wrestling at all.
I'm a huge wrestling fan.
Me too. I'm glad to know that. So you're going to know what I mean. So it's like Stone Cold Steve Austin was around long before he was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right.
He was several other things. He was the ringmaster. He was Stunning Steve. He was so many other things. But then when he became Stone Cold, he felt probably the best he ever had.
Right.
And he knew he found his spot, and now that's what he's known as. Same thing with all these other wrestlers. The Undertaker, Mark Calloway, was not always the Undertaker.
Right.
He was several other things before that. And the same thing with Glenn Jacobs, known as Kane. He was not always Kane. He was Isaac Yankem before that.
Right.
He was Fake Diesel before that. So he found his niche. Same thing with you. You were several other things before. Now you're Unky Bones, and you're going to take that and run with it.
We're going to the moon.
You mentioned, your upcoming or your latest release, Bone Dry. Can you talk about that song a little bit? What it's about?
I think Bone Dry is really about having a situation where somebody's like, I'm there with you, like I understand you, I feel you, I see you. But at the end of the day, you're like, I don't think you really do. And that's like, it talks about like, I've been out in the rain, but somehow you're still dry, but I've been out in it. But you're telling me that you're there with me. But like when I came back inside, like you've not got any rain on you, so I'm confused.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and is this the first big major release off of your album, or is this just, how would you, is this, because I know that when I looked at your Spotify, you've got 3 or 4 songs on there. Now, you don't have an album out yet?
No, so yeah, I just feel like with today's market, it just makes more sense for independent artists to do singles. Until people start to care more, and then you can put out an album.
That's the landscape nowadays.
Yeah, but definitely in the future, plans for that. But for right now, we're working on single by single.
Okay, well, tell everybody where they can find your music and how they can connect with you on social media.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, you can find me pretty much on any streaming platform that you use. It's just Unky Bones, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Amazon Music, YouTube, wherever you look. If you want to find me on social media, Facebook is just Unky Bones. Instagram is at whoisunkybones. TikTok is whoisunkybones. And that's the main places to find me. So,
well, Unky, I want to thank you so much for coming live in studio with me today.
It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, you're going to have to come back when you got something new coming on.
Absolutely,
and promote it. I would love to have you back. We're going to end the show with one of your songs. This is called Daywalker, and this is another banger by my man Unky Bones. Make sure you give him a follow on social media, and you give him a follow on his Spotify page as well. And check out his YouTube. He's got some great visuals with his music.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening to another episode of Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. You can listen to all of our previous episodes on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to Unky Bones. I am Adam Banks, and this is Off the Cuff. We'll see you next Thursday.